Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to our call for tonight. This is our weekend Q&A. And if you have questions, you can write them in the box. You can write them in the box there in YouTube, and I'll see them. And I'm happy to try to answer your questions. And so I'm gonna just turn off my sound here. Our call for tonight. And let's go ahead and get started. So once again, if you have questions, write them there in the chat there in YouTube. I'll see them. And so if you don't have questions, that's fine. I have a few things I'm going to cover. I'm not going to go a full 30 minutes tonight. I'm just going to go over a few things that I talked about in our email and in our newsletter. And tonight I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to video record our podcast or our audio broadcast, and then I'll upload it then to Anchor. And I'm going to be making some predictions for 2021 for PLR users. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, I'll share that with you later on tonight. So let's go back to just the basic content marketing approach for PLR marketers and for content marketers. So you don't have to be a PLR marketer to benefit from what I'm going to be saying right now. In fact, this is probably going to be something, that everyone should be doing, myself included. And so I put myself in the same category. So I want to just modify what I talked about last week in terms of a basic marketing approach. And I'm assuming that you're marketing information of some kind. And so, and that information can come in the form of advice. Maybe you're just informing people of something, right? You're not necessarily telling them what to do, but you're just giving them some information. Maybe what you're doing is you're inspiring them. You're showing them how to live a better life in some area, or just making them laugh or cry or do something. You're entertaining them. I consider all that to be content that you are selling, regardless of how you sell it. And you can also sell your product through content. So in other words, you can use entertainment. You can sell your product by giving advice first. You can sell your product by informing people of something. You can sell your product by inspiring them first. We see this often. Anytime you go and you hear a live speaker, they will then inspire you for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or however long it goes, and then ask you to get more from them, whether it's in the back, well, it's not necessarily in the back of the room anymore, but they will ask you to get more of their inspiration from them. So you can sell your product through content. Either way, you're inviting people to get to know you through your content. And that is the most important part that you want to keep in mind as a PLR marketer, as any kind of marketer of information of any kind. You are inviting people to get to know you through content first. So whether you are selling the content or whether you are selling other things through the content, you got to get people to get to know you. And so basically, you've got to position yourself as an educator. And one of the things I talked about in today's newsletter was having a UTP, or unique teaching position. And that basically sets you apart from everybody else that's talking about the very same thing. There are very few new niches these days. There are very few things that you're going to be able to create from the standpoint of advising people, of giving people new information, of giving people new inspiration, or new entertainment even. But you can take a unique position from your standpoint. How do you do that? Well, one of the ways you do that is to do a weekly workshop, and you do it in your favorite medium. And so we've been talking about doing them, whether you're doing a webinar, whether you were doing live social media, or whether you're even doing it in person, that basically what you are doing is you are teaching people on a weekly basis, and you're asking them to come back over and over again so that you can show them new ways in which they can benefit from what it is that you're showing them, right? So it doesn't really matter, what you teach week to week. You are basically trying to make sure that you are sharing with them something from your perspective, right? You've got to, Yvette, it really is the way to think about it. Basically, because you don't really have to reinvent, let's say, keto. You're not going to reinvent keto, but you can also take something new and a new approach on keto. when you come to the marketplace. And so you reduce this pressure of trying to come up with, something new and scientific, but basically everybody has a real take on something that they're doing. So what's a UTP, right? So let's get into that a little bit. Um, um, Basically, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I wanted to put some animations in here. I want to go through this one thing at a time. So rather than kind of have you go through all this, let's go through this one at a time, because I do want to kind of talk through this. A UTP is different from a USP, right? So it's not necessarily based on a specific product. When you have a specific product or a specific brand, that brand needs to have a USP. It needs to have a unique selling proposition. It needs to be so that people can get something from that product, or something from your brand, or something from your company that they cannot get elsewhere. We understand that's what a USP is. And so anything that you sell, whenever you come to the marketplace, even if the thing you're selling is unique, you need to be developing a unique selling proposition, so that, because sometimes it is what you deliver and the way you deliver it that is unique, that you're giving the customer some kind of unique value they cannot get anywhere else other than from you, right? But a unique teaching position, or a unique training position, is different from a USP. We're not even at the point at which we're selling. We're at the point at which people are getting to know us. And so as people are getting to know us, or the way they get to know us is going to be our UTP. It's your approach to a crowded and complex subject. So you don't have to reinvent the subject. What you've got to do is be real and be honest about your take on that subject. And everybody's got a take on something. And in particular, this really matters to PLR marketers, because you're actually coming to the marketplace and you're saying, hey, I've got a product on Facebook, and maybe it is a PLR product that you are rebranding. You don't have to go back in and redo the product in your own voice. That's not the idea. The idea is, what is your unique take, and how should I look at that product? Anything that's being taught on the subject matter within the PLR, what is your unique take that's going to get me success? That is really the way you and I have to look at PLR when we come to it. Now, yeah, in some cases, when you've got written PLR, of course you need to rewrite it. But in particular, when you're talking about video, and video that has been taught, over the shoulder, it's not your job to redo that. It's your job to give me, your customer, that higher value thinking on how to implement it in my business, or in my life, or whatever it is that I am doing when I am purchasing this from you. I am purchasing something from you on a personal level. And it is the way that you are going to show me how to benefit from it that's really unique. And it ought to be based in something that's a basic approach to life. If you are a business trainer, you want to have some basic principles in terms of how people are going to get success, that if I were to bump into you, that your UTP would come out, right? Whatever it is, whatever your position is on business, right? It might be something like, all business needs to be personal, that you need to develop personal relationships. That could be your emphasis. And so it doesn't matter whether you were teaching MailChimp, or whether you are teaching StreamYard, or whether you are teaching Etsy. Your unique training position, or unique teaching position, should be what's coming out, that you are putting in on top of the PLR when you rebrand it. So your UTP is your approach to a crowded and a complex subject. Now, you do not have to be first. And that's the old way. That's the old school marketing position. You've got to be first. No, you don't have to be first. What you've got to be is, you've got to be unique in a training position, because what you're doing is, when you teach on a weekly basis, is, I'm not trying to be and reach the people who want to go with the first person they hear. I want to reach that person with whom I resonate. right? And so when you start talking, you're going to sound different from me. You're going to start saying things that are different from me. You're going to emphasize different things from me. And so because of that, someone's going to hear you and they're going to say, ah, that's my person. That's the person I need to listen to. So your job's not to be first. Your job is to be real from the heart, and you need to have a unique training or a unique teaching position on what it is that you are bringing to the marketplace. You do need to be first with your take, though. So if you're going to start talking about, let's say, everything needs to be done with a handshake, right? If that's going to be your thing, you do need to be first there, right? So again, it's not your job to be first to invent, a new way of marketing Facebook. But if you're going to say, hey, everybody on Facebook needs to wear red in their profile, right? If that's going to be your thing, you got to be first with that, right? So, and really, it's not hard to do that. It's not hard to have a unique a UTP where you're going to be first, because that's what makes it a UTP. But if you're coming to the marketplace first and it's going to be unique and it's going to be uniquely you, you're typically going to be first to be teaching that one thing. And so this is where if there's any if there's any voodoo, right, in what I'm saying, it is this. Because when you start teaching and you start putting your teaching out there and making it available, what's going to happen is there's some magic that happens where someone listens to you and they decide, that's not the person I want to listen to. I'm going to go elsewhere. I understand what they're saying. I sort of agree with what they're saying, but I may not necessarily like what they're saying. I'm going to go elsewhere. And it all happens on a psychological level, right? It all happens almost instantly. But then somebody who doesn't even agree with you, they hear you and they say, that's not quite what I think, but man, I really like this person. I really get what they're saying. It really sounds like they get me. They look like someone that I would have lunch with. They look like someone that if I was at a conference, that would be the person that I would go talk to. This looks like the kind of person that I would invite to my house. You are going to resonate with certain people in that way when you start talking and you start enunciating and you start teaching from your UTP. You got to be first with that, right? There shouldn't be anybody else. So in other words, now when you start talking about, writing Kindle books and, putting things together, that should have your UTP in it, right? You probably have seen this. You probably have purchased books and you probably have seen, and they've had stuff in there that's like everybody else says, right? It's like everything else that everybody else says. Well, that's fine. And I'm proud that you wrote a book. But really what needs to be in your book, really what should be in all of your products, really what should be in all your webinars, really what should be on your business card, really what should be in everything that has you in it, should be your unique teaching or training position. That's your content. That's what sets you apart. You got to be first to the market with that. Now, and I just talked about Kindle. Now, a lot of people teach Kindle, right? A lot of people teach people how to get started on Kindle. A lot of people even teach what's called low content books. You've probably seen that, right? Now, but maybe you're going to teach low content books in connection to a digital business. That's going to be your thing. How to connect your low content book to your digital business. You are going to have a unique teaching position on the low content niche because you are going to teach it from the standpoint that it needs to be connected if it's going to make money to your digital business. Now, I just gave an example of that. That's something that I came with off the top of my head. I think that you understand what I'm saying. You have got to make sure that if you're going to come into a crowded niche, and you can, that if you're going to come second, third, fourth, fifth, or 10th or 10,000th, that you have got to be saying something that's going to be benefiting people at a unique level that's real to you, but it's really going to benefit someone in a way different from the way they can get from everybody else. It's a unique teaching or training position. Now, here's the most important thing, right? You can't just teach it. You must embody it. So it's not enough for you to have this really cool and radical and unique position. Everything that you do really should breed, it should say, this person does this. I know this is true. And the reason that this person can teach this from the heart is because this is what they do. They must embody the principle. And even if it's right now, let's say that it is theory for you, but you know that theory is true, and you know you're going to teach that theory. What you must do as soon as possible is you must begin to demonstrate that this theory is true in your own life, whatever it is. So let's say that you have not proven that a handshake is the key to business. Well, you've got to get started delivering handshakes in your personal business. You got to start delivering handshakes in your personal life. You must embody it. It must be part of your everyday, of your everyday comings and going. It should be, who you are. Whatever your UTP is, that is really what's going to give the real power to the UTP. That's really what's going to give it the force. You can do all of the slick sort of direct marketing tricks. You can have great copy. You can build Facebook groups and all of these other things. I think those are great things to do, and they will make you profitable. Will they keep people with you for the long term? I don't think so if you don't have a UTP, especially in this era of social media, because people are not necessarily going to be loyal to you. People are loyal to themselves if you can get them value, but they'll be loyal to you if you've got something that you're saying that they can't get elsewhere. So start teaching from the UTP. Start teaching from that place within you that nobody else can speak to, regardless of what area of business that you were speaking to. Start speaking to it. One of the ways in which you establish that UTP is that you begin doing the weekly workshop that we have been talking about over and over and over again for the past 3 years. Start doing the weekly workshop. It is the key. How do I know that how do I know that it's your thing? How do I know that? Well, I can look at your training archive. I can look at your YouTube channel. I can look at your podcast, and I can see all of the weeks that you have been teaching this over and over and over again. If I go back and I read, if I watch your products, or if I buy something from you and say, boy, this person's always talking about this one thing. He's always talking about handshakes. She's always talking about, connecting low content books to Kindle, right? Yeah. Yvette, it's definitely part of the branding. It's part of really being serious about setting yourself apart and teaching and talking about something over and over again. And so the way to establish the UTP is to teach, right? And the easiest way, if you don't do anything else, is to start tonight teaching from your weekly workshop. Is to start teaching, right? It is the way. And so you do that effectively by doing your weekly workshop. And basically, one of the things you got to do is you got to infect, right? I use that sort of word purposefully. You have to infect your PLR content. So in other words, so you've probably seen, with all the comings and goings of the pandemic, you don't want to get close to some people, or you get close to people and they could infect you, right? That's the way it really should be with your UTP. So in other words, your content is very close to you. It should be infected with your UTP. Your podcast should be infected with it. That doesn't mean that you talk about your UTP every single episode, but it should be infected. It should be part of your whole person. Your products don't all have to be the UTP, right? You probably have one or two that's specifically UTP, but everything that you do should be infected with the UTP. So what that means when you bring this concept to your PLR, even if it's written PLR, if it is digital PLR or video PLR, if it is audio PLR, if it is checklist PLR, it should be infected with your UTP. Listen, guys, rebranding is less about the graphics. It's less about rewriting it, making it, let's say, more like, better sounding. It's about putting in that UTP and making sure that when somebody reads this, it becomes you. So in other words, let's say all you're doing is you're putting bookends on an end of 2 PLR video courses, right? You're putting a bumper at the beginning and a bumper at the end. It becomes about you. You are infecting that entire training because the first voice I hear is going to be yours, and you're going to be giving me some kind of context that, hey, you know what? Our trainer is about to teach you 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's what you must remember, right? And you're telling me and you're teaching me from your unique training position. And so as I go through that course, I might be hearing, let's say, another voice, which in the case, if you have our video PLR, you'd be hearing my voice. But basically, though, I'm still infected by what I heard at the very beginning of the course. Or if you are taking, your bumper and you're putting it at the beginning of every video, right? I'm going to watch that person. I'm going to watch your training partner, who would be me, right? But I'm going to be infected by what you're saying about that subject. And so the most important aspect, and the thing you and I have to have when we come to redo PLR, if we redo it at all, if you're going to redo, let's say, a learning center, you're not going to redo PLR, which is what I recommend, right? I do not recommend that you redo PLR videos. I do not recommend that you revoice them. I do not recommend that you get a script and redo them. I know people like to do it, but I recommend that you don't do that. When you do that, you bring all of your PLR into a learning center and you rebrand the learning center. How do you do that? You rebrand it by infecting your learning center with your UTP. It should be all over there. It should be the first thing people should see. Step 1 should be step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If people are going to have success, they got to use your UTP, regardless of what they see in the video course, regardless of that. Right? When they get emails from you, and they should be getting emails from you on a daily basis, what should they be hearing? Your UTP, right? Your unique training, your unique teaching position. And really and truly, you have to repeat it, right? Over and over again. I'm not saying that I'm the end all be all this, but if you've heard Learning Center over the past, 3 years, you've heard it once, you've heard it 1,000 times. If you have heard me say you got to do a weekly workshop, you've heard it once, you've heard it 1,000 times. I'm going to keep saying it, right? I'm going to keep saying it because it matters to me that you do it. And it is where I'm coming from. You have to have where you're coming from. You have to teach where you're coming from. And people should get tired of hearing it. Oh, goodness gracious. Here comes this. She's going to be saying this over. It's going to be saying over and over again. You got to have a handshake. Okay, I know. It's got to be till people are just saturated with it when they know, they see you coming and it's going to be you. Right. And so the key to being able to make your PLR really sing, the key to being able to make it into something that's going to bring you the kind of customer that's going to be with you is going to be your UTP. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, once again, remember, Extreme Business Makeover 2.0 is at theplrshow.com/PSBF. If you are an Ultimate Insider, you already have this, so make sure that you get that from the member area, all of our pre-sale training. This is how you do your weekly workshops. I'm basically doing it for you, and we're giving you all of the pre-sale content so you can do your own workshops. So you don't have to write workshops. I'm going to give you mine, and you're going to be able to just kind of tweak them for your market, and then use them in your own business, right? So that is how you do that. Okay, so Sandy is asking, is the weekly workshop free or paid? I would suggest at minimum, Sandy, that you do one free workshop, right? 30 minutes, right? So, it can be any night of the week. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes, but I suggest you do one thing, and you're going to be inviting people to your list, right? So you're going to be asking people at that free workshop to join your list. And the reason that they're going to join is because of what you showed them. It's because of the way that you taught them and what you're sharing with them that sounds different from other things that they are hearing elsewhere, right? So one should be free. Now, you can then invite them to your paid workshop. When I used to train for multi-level marketers, that was the way it worked, right? A lot of people just did their free workshop and they said, hey, I'm going to be doing our paid workshop right after this at 8:30. That's going to be what, $97, whatever the case is. Then you join their paid workshop. So you can do that, but at least Sandy, one time a week, doesn't matter how long it is. It should be free, I think, and you can invite people to your paid workshop. Let's see, Yvette. When you do the weekly workshops, is it for driving people to online courses? Yes and no. So when you do a weekly workshop, you should be asking people to join your list first, right? Now, I actually, I don't think I even have my slide in here, but I'm gonna do that so that when people see this on YouTube, I'm gonna want them to go to the plrshow.com, get our free PLR Academy so they can be part of our our newsletter. So yes, you should invite them to your course, whatever you have at that week or at that moment, but you should also be inviting them to your list. So there are 4 offers that you should make. 4, right? 4 offers. I only have 2 of them in this one, unfortunately. I typically make 4. There are 4 offers. Number 1, whatever your current paid offer is. Number 2, that they should join your list. Number 3, that they should join your membership. Number 4, that they should give you a shout out, right? 4 things, right? So that would be the 4 things that you should be asking them to do at some point. So and all of it's low pressure. So, you're going to have some people to cut out on you, when you start making the pitch. That's fine, right? But make that first offer, your paid offer. Make the second thing you do to invite them to your list, right? Maybe the third thing should be your membership, and the fourth thing is going to be your a shout out. Ask them for a testimonial. Send them to your testimonial site. Right. Okay, so Sandy's asking, so what's the distinction between paid and free? The free workshop is basically where you're going to be driving all your traffic to, because not everybody, if people have not met you, they don't know to buy from you yet, right? And so I'm going to be driving traffic to my weekly free workshop. That's where I want to meet people. That's where I want people to and be introduced to me if necessary, right? And so if people come through that workshop and then they hear, they'll probably be better in terms of customers because they'll know where I'm coming from, right? Probably. And so I think what you want to do in your free workshop is just, you want to drive all the traffic to the free. And then the paid workshop is just going to be a product. So it's going to be something where you decide, I'm going to teach somebody at a price. So let's say that you're going to teach somebody how to use StreamYard and it's going to be free, right? So you're only going to teach them what you can teach them in 20 minutes. At the end of that workshop, you're going to say, hey, there's no way, and you'd be telling the truth when you do this. It's not a trick. Hey, there's no way I can teach you everything there is to know about StreamYard. So what I want you to do is make sure, if you want to know everything I've got to know, everything I can teach you on StreamYard, I have a video course and a workshop. Um, there's a link here where you can join me, and I will teach you everything in that. And you can go through the stack and you can list the things you're going to do that. So that's your paid. Your paid is going to be where they learn everything. You're going to show them how to do it, what to do. In your free workshop, you're going to tell them what to do, but you're not going to show them how to do it because you don't have time. You got 30 minutes. And so within that 30 minutes, you're going to say, I can't teach you everything. I will teach you everything if you go to that link. Right? Does that make sense, Sandy? Let me see. Yeah, so Yvette, so free will lead to the higher paid workshop. So whatever your product that you're selling in your free workshop, you're going to upsell them into whatever it is. It can be a product for that week. It can be a workshop for that week. I would suggest that every week you have something new to sell. So use your PLR, do a live workshop or sell that, or sell the PLR product, right? Rebrand it. So you should have something every week where you are making an offer for people to buy every week. And it's a soft sell, right? Just like I'm doing with you right now, you're teaching, you're giving value up front. Not a lot of value, it's just 30 minutes. And so you can't teach everybody everything in 30 minutes, right? No way. But you can tell them that they really want to get, excuse me, if they really want to get everything, they got to get your paid thing. For example, I can teach you how to do a paid workshop, but I can give you the workshop materials, if you get Extreme Business Makeover, right? And then you'd have weekly workshops where you can use them in order to do them. But I can't teach all that to you in 30 minutes. Like there's a course in Extreme Business Makeover called E-Training Playbook that shows you how to set up a weekly workshop, right? So that's in Extreme Business Makeover. I don't have time to teach that here because that took me 2 hours live, and it took me an over-the-shoulder video course of an hour. So all that content's inside of that course. I can't teach you all that on this thing. But a person that gets Extreme Business Makeover 2.0, they're going to know how to do their own weekly workshop. They're also going to get workshop materials, and they're going to get a product that they can rebrand. So that's, you'd be doing the same thing I'm doing right now. I'm teaching. I'm going to be back doing this next week, right? I'm going to have something new next week, right? but the key is to be giving people something from your UTP, your unique training position, right? Does that make sense, Sandy, or Yvette and Sandy? Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Good questions. Good questions. Yeah. Most of what we do is we don't believe that simple things work. And so what happens is we buy complex things because we believe they have to work. But really, the most important thing is kind of getting out there, doing that weekly workshop and start teaching, because that's where people find out about you. And somebody's going to say, oh, I want to partner with her, right? That's a person I want to partner with, right? But none of that can happen because if you're not out there, sorry. Oh boy, none of that can happen until you're out there. Yeah, no, exactly, Sandy. You have to be productive, and the word that my wife Laurel uses is prolific, right? You've got to be prolific. Content marketing is about being prolific, and it doesn't take a lot to be prolific. It takes consistency, right? And so what looks like, somebody said to me, I don't know when you sleep. Well, it's not even that. It's just I know how to show up every Saturday, right? I do know how to do that. And it looks like I'm doing a lot, but it really isn't, because basically, first of all, I'm always teaching from my own UTP, right? So I can riff on my own UTP, and I know how to show up, right? I know how to show up for 30 minutes on Saturday. And so I've got content now that I can put on my YouTube channel. I've got content that if I wanted to, I could put this in my Anchor podcast. I'm not going to do that, but I could do that. Um, I could later turn this into a bonus. I could later turn this into a product, just what I taught you. I could turn this into PLR if I wanted to. And so again, if you will, if people who are listening to me who want to sell their PLR, if you would start by doing that weekly workshop, right? 15 to 30 minutes every week, you will find that somebody's going to come to you and say, hey, I was listening to you. Would you like to partner with me on the X, Y, and Z? That's the way it happens. Swear to goodness, that's the way it happens, right? But they can't find you until you're out there, right? And so happens is most people don't put enough stuff out there. And so because they're not prolific and they're not consistent about it, nobody can find them. And so if you want people to find you, it doesn't matter where it is. It can be on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. It doesn't matter. But you have to be prolific. You got to be consistent. And the way to do that is to say, you almost got to trick yourself, right? Because if you say, I'm going to be here every Saturday at 7:00, then at, I don't know, Saturday afternoon at 3:00, when you're thinking, man, I don't feel like doing this, but you know what? I already said I'm going to be there every Saturday at 7. And then your brain will stop messing with you and telling you, nah, you're tired. You know, you got a lot of stuff. You did enough this week, right? You made enough. You did enough. Don't do it. No, if you commit to it, your brain will start saying, okay, you know what? I don't feel like it, but you know, people are expecting me to be here. I'm going to be here, right? Yeah. Okay. So pricing. Let's see. So I have some of your PLR sitting on my computer that I need to get out there. Yeah. Put an offer together, right? And the when it comes to pricing, right? Basically, if you start with a price that you think it should be, what happens is, don't go down first. What I will tell you, whatever you think the price should be, you want to start with $47. Start with $47. Doesn't matter what it is. Let's say then people come to the page, you start getting a lot of traffic to your $47 offer that you turned over from PLR. Doesn't sell. What you do then is you build it up. So in other words, let's say that I have a PLR product on publicity, that I just say I bought one on publicity and I can't get it to sell, right? I rebranded it. I did all that stuff. People look at it and say, I don't want. What can I do? What I could do then is I can go to my alumni network, right? I'm gonna go to all the people I graduated with from college, right? Or wherever you graduated from. Doesn't have to be college. I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? Who's the most famous person that you know, right? Can you get me 30 minutes with that person so I can just do an interview with them? Sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. I'll do 30-minute interview with them. I will put that in the package. And then what happens is somebody's going to come by and they say, wow, well, maybe now that's getting closer to $47. Maybe the next person looks at it and says, well, man, they've got, you know, I don't know, you know, some famous person, right, in their package. Well, maybe now that publicity product is not looking so meager for $47. But let's say that didn't work. So then what you do is you keep adding stuff to it, right? You get something cool. You put some checklists in there. So then when the person comes to the page, they say, okay, that's looking more like $47. Now, if all that doesn't work, let's say none of that works, you got two options, right? You can bring it down in price, right? But only after you've tried to raise the price by adding more value. Only after that. right? Because if you don't do that, you'll be low cost provider forever. That's not your job, right? When you buy PLR, you are buying it at wholesale. You are supposed to mark it up to resale. See, most people think I'm just going to sell this for $9 or $17. That's not for you to do, right? And I know why people do it. They do it just to get a sale. But what they're doing is they're shooting themselves in the foot and attracting a buyer that they don't want, right? Right? I mean, you're attracting a buyer that you don't want. So you got to start thinking about who do I want buying from me? Who do I want to do business with? What do they expect to pay for a product? And you got to price it at that level. And then once you price it at that level, you got to start saying, okay, what can I add to this thing to make that person say, this is, and then when you send the email out and you say, you know what? We just added a special bonus to this. Oprah's now my interview with Oprah is now in here. $47 a bargain now, right? So I would say that you price it at where the people that you want to do business with would expect to pay. And then if you cannot get it to sell, after you add stuff to it, then you bring it down and you discount it for your list, because they've been seeing this at that price and they said, I don't want it, I want it at that price. And now you're saying, I'm going to run a sale and I'll sell it to you for half that. You're going to get some buyers then, right? Okay. Let's see. Correct. Yeah. So what you're trying to do is you are trying to up the value and get them up to that level. It may work, it may not work, right? It may could be the subject matter, could be the timing. But if what you're doing is, if you are building a list, which you should be, those people that were not ready to buy should be added to your list. You got to get them on your list. And then when, after some time, you keep adding stuff, it doesn't work. At some point, let's say it's Mother's Day. You say, you know what? This is Sandy Jacobs' Mother's Day sale. Sandy Jacobs' Mother's Day sale is going to be, I'm going to do my publicity product. It's got my interview in it with Oprah, 50% off, right? Those same people who are on your list who bypassed it, they now say, no, she got that interview with Oprah. I think I want it now. So it's 50% off. Some people are going to buy it, right? I can't guarantee some people are going to buy it, but generally that's what happens, right? But you got to try to go up first. You got to try to attract the people that you want at that price level. And you got to give them what they expect to pay. Because if you give them a low price and they are sort of this buyer and they come to your page and it could be a really cool thing, they're going to wonder what's wrong with it. And they're going to say, you know what? That's not, it's $7. It must not be worth anything. That's what happens, right? I mean, you're trying to do people a favor by giving them a low price, but basically what you're doing is you're not attracting the person you want to do business with. And so you got to attract the person you want to do business with, right? So again, remember, you buy PLR at wholesale, you have to mark it up for retail, right? Okay, good questions. Any other questions? Okay, any other questions? Okay, everybody, remember Extreme Business Makeover 2.0, plrshow.com/PSBF. I did not take my own advice. I do not have it here. What I will tell you is that if you are not getting our daily newsletter, make sure that you are going to the plrshow.com, get access to our free PLR Academy, and you'll automatically be added to our newsletter. That's where I talk about PLR every single day. And we will correspond, and I'll show you the right way to use PLR over the course of time. So if you stick with me for a little while, make sure you're signed up on that list. Just kind of continue to get it. You will eventually be rebranding PLR and developing your own brand. You can do that at the plrshow.com. Once again, I do not have that URL here, but that's where you do that. The best way to do this is going to be as an ultimate insight. And this is where we help you to position yourself as an educator in the market. Whatever your market or niche is, this is where you position yourself as an educator. That is what I want to help you to do. And that is what we do when you become an ultimate insider. And it is a monthly membership. And why does it have to be a monthly membership? You might say, well, it helps me commit to you, right? So one of the things we do is we do an onboarding call with all of our ultimate insiders. And the reason we do that is because when you commit to us monthly, we commit to you, right? And that's the way, it's the best way for me to be able to commit to you is for you to make a commitment to your own business. And then we can then commit to you. Look, I mean, if I were to charge for that onboarding call, it's a lot more than that, right? My coaching's a lot more than that, but it's worth it to me when you become an ultimate insider to give you that onboarding call. It's probably the biggest value that we have. So as again, you're looking to position yourself as an educator. I'm probably Laurel and I are probably your man, your woman. You're probably our people. Head over to Insider Training, get signed up, and then as soon as you get inside, make sure you sign up for the onboarding call, and then that will be great. Okay, so everybody, so thank you. Hey, thanks, Yvette. I appreciate you all saying that. Appreciate that. Have a great night, everybody, and a pleasant tomorrow.